Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to watch anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely won't match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Just be respectful in the comment section. Thank you. And as always, there is a spoiler section ahead, but don't worry, I'll warn you first.
Hey guys, Darth Glork here, back with another positive anime review. Today we will be talking about Sword Art Online Alicization War of Underworld, Seasons 1 and 2. So, hello! It's been forever. It's been forever since I recorded, it feels like, because it was, my new schedule is murder. And the real craziness is how long it's been since I recorded a par review. Good God. This was so long ago. So I think it was like 6 or 9 or 8 months or something since my last par review. I believe the last one we did was for Soul Eater, I think. And it was a long time ago. So really sorry about that. There's been lots of changes in my life, and I moved and switched jobs and switched states, and there was so much happening. So there was a lot happening, and I was not coping incredibly well, and I kind of fell off watching anime, and I just didn't watch anime for for a major stretch for the first time in years and years and years and years, and I fell off watching anime. And so then, I don't even know how long ago it was now. A few months ago, I got back into it because I'm like, man, I miss watching anime. Anime made me so happy, and I really miss it. It's time to get back into it. And so then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to watch, and so I looked up if the War of Underworld arc was done. And as it turns out, not only was the Season 1 done, but Season 2 was done as well. So, and not sure I realized there was a Season 2 or not, but obviously I did. But then I obviously didn't want to just launch right back into, these super late seasons of Sword Art Online. And so I actually went back and started with Season 1. So I started with Season 1, I watched all the seasons, and then to get all caught up, which is usually what I do, because I don't like starting something in the middle. If I'm going to start a series of, whether it's a game or a movie or an anime, I want to start from the beginning. So anyway, so we're here, and we're back, and I'm a little nervous, not going to lie. But it's like riding a bike, is what I've been telling myself. It's like riding a bike. So, I do still have my little cheat sheet in front of me. And I have not started my next anime yet because I just finished this like an hour ago. So, it's very, very fresh. But I'm hopeful that par reviews will start rolling out once again on the regular, because now that I'm back in the habit of watching anime, and I really, really miss it. So we are happy to be back and recording. Now, the last thing of businessy stuff I can think of before we launch into the actual review is this is my first time recording anything in my new place with my new setup for PC stuff. So this is my first time doing that for PC stuff. So I've been recording several things on my Xbox since I moved, but I haven't recorded anything on my PC. So the mic placement might be a little bit weird. There might be technical difficulties. I am not sure, but we're kind of just playing it by ear, and we're doing the best we can, and that's kind of the best I can do. So whatever happens, happens. Anyway, let's go ahead and launch into the review. So obviously, another 2 seasons, really, of SAO. And it's no secret that I am a massive fan of this whole series, and so I am very excited to be, reviewing and was very excited to watch it. So now, as far as this, when these aired, they aired obviously very, very recently because they are very, very new. I'm actually going to move my little cheat sheet to this other screen instead. Anyway. So Season 1 of War of Underworld, which actually, I'm going to go ahead and open Season 2 on a different tab, just so I can flick between them indiscriminately. But Season 1 was in the October of 2019 season, so ignore the very loud vehicle outside. Anyway, but it was in the October to December of 2019, so obviously super, super behind. Now, Season 2 was newer. Get rid of that pop-up. Season 2 was newer. It was from July of 2020 to September of 2020. So, obviously, I was still, incredibly behind with this show, but when I kept looking back at the time, season 1 was still airing and all that jazz. So at the time, I was just on my mental list of, oh well, we'll just have to wait till it's done then, because I don't watch anything as it comes out, you know. So anyway, and so they are very, very fresh though. I still feel like 2019 feels pretty fresh to me. Now, is there a dub? I assume there's a dub, because there usually is, but I did not watch it, so I have no idea. So I don't know if the dub is good or not, but I very rarely, not never, I very rarely watch dub, but the sub was very good, and the subtitles were very clean and crisp, and so I imagine there's a dub. I don't know if it's out yet, but I imagine there is, but I did not watch it, so I couldn't tell you. Now, this is an adaptation from a light novel, and at one point, one of my viewers explained the difference to me, but I have the memory of a squirrel, and so I have no idea what the difference between a light novel and a manga is. No idea. So, you know, you got me, man. I don't know. But launching into the synopsis, it's far easier than listening to me ramble, that's for damn sure. Anyway, so we will be reading the synopsis for War of Underworld, like, Season 1, and then I guess we'll probably just launch into Season 2 as well. Although I'm hesitant to do it, because I'm like, what if it's a spoiler? You know what I mean? But, I don't know. Maybe not, though. I guess I wouldn't label that as a spoiler, I guess. So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and read the synopsis for Season 1 first, and then we'll see what happens. Despite the defeat of Quinella, the Pontifex of the Axiom Church, things have not seemed to calm down yet. Upon contact in the real world, Kazuto Kirigaya finds out that the ocean turtle, a mega float controlled by Wrath, was raided. Due to a sudden short circuit caused by the raiders, Kirito's floodlight is damaged, leaving him comatose. Feeling insecure about the people at the Axiom Church, Alice brings the unconscious Kirito back to their hometown, Rulid Village. Disregarding her banishment due to an I feel like that should say unresolved. Unresolved? Is that even a word? Unresolved crime. Now Alice is living an ordinary and peaceful life by the village, wishing for Kirito to wake up. However, tragedy strikes when Alice notices the Dark Territory has already started to invade the human empire. Resuming her previous alias, Alice Synthesis 30, she promises to defeat the Dark Territory in order to defend the world that Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh worked so hard to protect. So that is the synopsis for Season 1. Now, as the synopsis would imply, and I don't feel like this is a spoiler, because you watch Episode 1, you get a pretty good idea, but Kirito is comatose a very large portion of Season 1. So this one largely is about Alice, more than anyone else, but we'll talk more about that when we launch into the actual character section. But I just wanted to put that out there, that the synopsis is, you know, it's not wrong. Anyway. So, and then as for the synopsis of Season 2. Now, we are more talking about Season 1 in this review. And I obviously in the title, I will be putting both Seasons 1 and 2 and stuff and all that jazz, but once you start with Season 1, like, this is these two seasons are very directly, like, related, and, like, you know what I mean? And previously, the Sword Art Online show, they obviously, these ones are both shorter. Again, we'll talk about this in a second, but they're both shorter. One of them, the second season, is only 11 episodes, and the first one is only 12. And normally, previously, they all come in one go. Like, it was just, you know, Sword Art Online Season 1 and 2 or whatever was 20-something episodes. So, you know, it's all basically connected. So, you know. And even in previous seasons, it was very, very normal for the show to, halfway through, more or less, they switch, you know, the plot resolves, and then it moves on to another piece of what was going on. That's been, like, you know, tradition since the beginning of them all. So, you know. Anyway, and so obviously it's very normal that this one just happened to come in two pieces in 2 separate years, obviously, but normally they just release all together, so it is what it is. Anywho, but the synopsis for Season 2. The final battle against the Dark Territory drags on, as players from all over the world flood the Underworld servers and plunge the human empire into utter chaos. Asuna Yuki, which, isn't it? Oh, I guess that is her name. It just sounds funny because they always obviously say it reverse, but I think her first name is Asuna. Yuki is her last name, like family name. It just sounds weird when it's said correctly, you know? Anyway, Asuna Yuki and her friends defend their new allies with everything they have, but their numbers are falling. Meanwhile, Alice Zuberg heads toward the World's End altar, while Gabriel Vecta Miller relentlessly pursues her. Meanwhile, members of Wrath strategize a plan in an attempt to restore Kirito's damaged Fluct Light. That's such a weird word. However, the intruders occupying the main control room have other plans. Surrounded by death and despair, when all hope seems to be lost, one voice reaches out to Kirito, a familiar one, saying, "I will always be by your side." Sword Art Online Alicization War of Underworld second season is the epic conclusion to Akihiko Kayaba's dream of creating artificial human intelligence. Now it is up to Kirito and his friends to protect this collapsing world from the people that still think it is just a game. So, yeah, and so obviously it is, the direct conclusion. There's lots of development, and Season 2 is actually pretty insane. It goes a long way, like the distance traveled. Season 1, it's like all battle. Like, it's almost all battle. There's obviously breaks in between, but as far as what's going on, it's called, the season is called War of Underworld. It's not kidding. It is pretty much the entire show, and which I'm super okay with, because I have mentioned this, and I feel like I remember saying this in my Alicization review, but the sound and the visuals like get stepped up a notch by a lot. In Alicization, you notice it. Well, in this, it's no different. The sound when they're fighting with swords, like, you feel the impact, like magic and abilities and what happens. It's like really scaled up. Like, I feel like maybe they had a bigger budget, or maybe they just decided to change things. I don't know, but I do know that it was like the sound and the visuals and all that is insane. So it's all battle, and so I was not at all upset about it. Now, Season 2, less so, but Season 1 was noticeably, like, all conflict, and Kirito is, like, comatose, like, a lot of the anime. So you get to know Alice a lot better, and you really like her. I do like her as a character. And the bigger, more exciting thing is that Asuna makes a comeback for screen time. Asuna is a far bigger character, and previously in previous seasons, Asuna often takes a side, like a supporting character role, and I never liked that. I really like Asuna's character. I really, really like who she is. I love the relationship her and Kirito have. But for several seasons, I feel like she's been a major side character. And so it felt really good, because in Season 1, she really takes a step up in the last, 25% or so of the first season. And second season, she's a huge character. But she takes a much more major role, and it was awesome. I was very, very excited for that. So, moving on to rating. How clean or dirty is the anime? Very clean. I would say pretty clean. So, the site that I'm using gives it a R, like for an adult rating. I'm not sure I totally agree with that. Because, I don't know, this season, the War of Alicization was much more brutal, and I do want to say that. It was noticeably more brutal as far as deaths goes, people getting really injured. I feel like SAO never was super big into, like, pulling back or censoring or whatever. Like, I don't feel like it was noticeable before, but you really notice that there is like some violence, and I feel like it was an Alicization as well. But in War of Underworld is no different. There is a few very brutal things that happen, like as far as violence goes, and that is a common trend. It does keep up, and again, I feel like that was an Alicization as well. Well, War of Underworld Seasons 1 and 2 is no different. It is a lot more brutal. I'm not sure I would call it an R, like adult mature rating. I don't think it's that brutal. I feel like a PG-13 is probably fine, but it is noticeably more brutal, and obviously I like that a lot more. But, it is more brutal, so it kind of is what it is. Now, as far as the genre, obviously, everyone knows what SAO is like, but, action, game, adventure, romance, fantasy is what the site lists it as, and I would say that's pretty accurate. Now, season length, we did touch upon this, and this is, and I'm mostly reading, sticking to Season 1 as far as the little details I'm reading here, but Season 2 is the same thing, so I don't really feel the need to go over both of those. But anyway, so I completely lost my train of thought. Season length, right. So Season 1 is 12 episodes, and it is the longer of the two seasons. Regular episode length of 23 minutes per episode, more or less. Nothing new there. Now, Season 2 was a little bit shorter at 11 episodes, same as far as episode length goes. Now, this is a show where you are going to need to stick around until after the credits. I remember distinctly from Season 2, there were scenes that came after the credits. I don't remember if that's true with Season 1, but just to be safe, I would advise sticking around for both and making sure you hung around until the credits were over, just to make sure you did not miss anything. So that is my advice. So moving on to our character list. Now, we're not going to probably spend my entire natural life on this character list because because the characters have been the same since Season 1. I mean, or 2, you know. A lot of the characters have been the same a very long time. So I don't feel an incredible need to stick around our whole lives, but you know, obviously we will definitely touch upon them. So our main character, we have Kazuto Kirigaya, aka Kirito. So Kirito is still, you know, the main character. Now again, and I did touch upon this earlier, but he is, you know, the main character, but at the same time, in Season 1, that's not so much true. That's not as true. You know, he was less. He had a fair amount of screen time, but the dude is comatose. I mean, he's a zombie. He has no personality. He doesn't talk. He's confined to a wheelchair after very intense events of Alicization. And so in this season, he's just, you know, he's like a background character, and you do feel very sorry for him because like he's just a zombie, and he's like that for most of season 1. Now in Season 2, all is well, and he's fine, and so he is, you know, the major character there, but he does share the main character spotlight with other characters, and we will talk about them in a second. But other than that, he's still quintessential Kirito. He's still Kirito. He still very much cares for his friends. He's still very, you know, like, I don't know. He's still the same Kirito that I've loved since Season 1. That I feel like a lot of people enjoy. He's very, very good. He cares about his friends. He's very, very loyal. He's very, very loving to Asuna. He genuinely wants to help people, and you know, he's still the same Kirito that we all know and love. But I feel like that the difference, I feel like in Alicization too, I feel like especially I remember thinking this several times throughout War of Underworld, that you just feel really sorry for Kirito, you know, that with everything that happens to him and everything that he's been through all of these different seasons and stuff, I feel like the dude has just withstood like so much, you know, he has withstood like so much of really crazy events, and I don't know, like I feel like I noticed that there was more times I feel like throughout, you know, War of Alicization where he has like emotional breakdowns, and it does happen, and I felt very, very sorry for him because I'm like, this dude has been through so much, and it's like it's no wonder that it does like weigh on him, and like it feels like it's finally taking his toll, you know what I mean? And so he's still, you know, the Kirito we all know and love, but I feel like that there was lots of times where I feel like he's just really been through a lot, and I feel like it's really starting to really come back to haunt him, you know, with like everything he's been through. I feel like it's just a lot to process, so I did feel very sorry for him, and I noticed it a lot in Season 2, but in Season 1 as well, and I just feel like it's a running theme. But otherwise, there was lots of really great moments, and Kirito is still, you know, still my hero. I still love him. He's still awesome. But moving on to our next main character. Now, again, between the two seasons, I'm only really talking about the same character list. We're not switching between them because they're the same characters. But moving on to our next main character, we have Asuna. So Asuna in the War of Underworld was very exciting for me because she takes a much bigger role. Now she takes a much more main character role. Now, like I said, for several seasons, she has been kind of a supporting character, I feel like. And I really missed having her as the front-lining character. I really, really missed having her be more prevalent, more important, like she was in Season 1 of Sword Art Online. And I really missed having her as a main character. Well, in the War of Underworld, she does come back in a major way in both seasons, especially in Season 2. And even at the end, even in for a lot of Season 1, but the point is she comes back, and she's super awesome. And, you know, it was really, really cool. And obviously her dedication and Kirito's dedication, their relationship is one of my favorite things, maybe my favorite thing about Sword Art Online as a whole series, is the relationship that Kirito and Asuna have. Well, it's no different in this season. In this season, that they're still thick as thieves, they still would go through hell and back together, and there's lots of events that happen in War of Underworld Seasons 1 and 2 that it just proves it. You're like, see? Like, these guys really are the best couple. They're so stinking loyal, and I love it. And Asuna is the same Asuna we've known for a long, long time, and she's great. I love her, and and she dives in headfirst to take care of of Kirito, because lots of crazy events are happening. And, she dives in and does lots and lots of stuff. And I'm not going to get super deep into it because I don't want to spoil anything. I won't get super into it because I don't want to spoil anything. But Asuna has lots and lots of great moments. Kirito does too, especially in Season 2, but in Season 1 as well. They both have lots of great moments, and I feel like that's a running theme, to get on a side tangent. I feel like a running theme of War of Underworld is how hype it is as a couple of seasons. I feel like Alicization, I've mentioned it before. Sorry, I'm all stuffed up and my nose is running today, and it's murder. Anyway. Oh, I'm killing me, man. Anyway. But I feel like it happened a lot in Alicization, but I feel like in War of Underworld especially, like, the stakes are very high and very important. They're not like Season 1 important, and the first season of Sword Art Online is still my favorite one, hands down. But the stakes are still very high, and it's like, I feel like it's a very hype show. There's lots of moments that happen in this season which are callbacks to the original SAO, and there's a lot of those, and lots of characters return, and there's lots of appearances. I mean, it's a very hype show. I feel like, and it with all the characters, they have lots of great moments in combat or whatever, where it's so cool, and you're just like so hyped up and so excited, and because like there's just lots of callback, there's lots of references, it's a lot of hype going around, and it's super, super great. So I was just thinking about some moments that happen, but I will not spoil those, so fear not. Now, let me take a quick drink, and then we'll move on to our third and final main character. So, third and final main character, we have Alice. So Alice, in War of Underworld Season 1, she is, like, the main character. Like, Asuna does take a much bigger role, and then later on, Kirito does as well, but Alice is, like, the driving character for quite a bit of Season 1. In Season 2 as well, but it's far more noticeable in Season 1. She gets, like, the most screen time. And it is fine, but you really get to know her character a lot more in War of Underworld throughout, especially Season 1. But in Alicization as well, you got to know her, and you really do like her. I do like her character. Something that, and she is, much newer to the cast, obviously, introduced in Alicization. But something about I don't know, maybe, I guess it's the writing, I guess is my complaint, or you could frame it as Alice's character, but I feel like it's the writing. Something that annoys me a little bit is they keep trying to push Alice on Kirito. Like, there's quite a few moments where, like, it feels like Asuna and Alice are competing for Kirito's attention and love. It's especially noticeable in Season 1, once Asuna shows up, but in Season 2, towards the end, there was some moments as well. I find that very annoying, because for me, there is no competition. It is Asuna. She is Kirito's significant other. Now, something that goes a very long way into making it much easier for me to deal with, and for me not to be really upset about it, is that Kirito doesn't seem interested. Kirito doesn't, like, he doesn't encourage it. That's the word. He doesn't encourage it. Like, things happen, but he doesn't encourage anything. He's like, he's very respectful, and he's very, very nice, and he's not mean about anything, but he's clearly only interested in Asuna. So that goes a very long way. And and Alice, whatever. Alice is crushing on Kirito, and it's fine. But I don't like how often she's pushed on him, like they're having moments or whatever. I like moments like as even very deep, very close friends, but sometimes it feels like they're like, look, love triangle. Like, no, there is no love triangle here. It's Asuna and then Alice being in the way. And I really like Alice's character, but I don't like her being in the way of Kirito and Asuna. So, side tangent, but it felt related. Anyway, but other than that, Alice is a great character. She has lots of great moments in Season 1. You really feel like you get to know her. Season 2, she takes a little bit more of a sideline, just a hair. And, and it's very cool, but, it is what it is. So that is it. It's kind of the trio for our main character list. It is kind of that main trio. Now, there is, obviously, our side supporting characters are a lot of people you would expect. You do have Yu-Gi-Oh, even though lots of events in Alicization make it seem hard to believe he's in this one, but he is kind of sort of in this one. And he has interesting moments, and but otherwise it's the rest of the cast of friends. It's the crowd you would all expect. Kirito's sister Suguha, she's a supporting character. Shino, Asada from season 2 of Sword Art Online. She's a supporting character. There's the main cast of supporting characters are all there. The big group of friends, and they do have lots of cool moments, and they have cool moments of loyalty and lots of great moments. But they are definite supporting characters, obviously. I feel like again in season 2 of Sword Art Online. Obviously, Shino got her, that was her main character role. That was her spotlight, and then in season 1, in like the second half, obviously, Suguha got her main character, moment in the spotlight, and then that's kind of it, right? And then they've kind of been rocking the bench as side characters ever since. So, it is what it is. You can't fit everybody on screen, like, for long periods of time. But I really do like Shino, and I really do like Suguha, and so it is a little bit of a shame that they're just eternal side characters. But like I said, I don't hold that against them. You can't have everybody on screen. I mean, otherwise you would have to have side shows just to give everyone their own personal time, Anyway, so, but that's basically it. It's your main cast of supporting characters that you would expect, but it's mainly the trio is what it's about. It's Kirito, it's Asuna, and it's Alice, and those are kind of the main characters. There's some other IRL supporting characters, but they're not even listed in this character list. I would have to delve deeper, and they're not even important enough for me to mention. But we touched on the main characters, which is usually my go-to. I touch at least a fair amount on the main characters. And that's basically it. Now, obviously, I'm hoping I will remember to label the characters I'm talking about on screen, but I didn't, describe them at all, because, we've seen this show. You know what I mean? You guys have seen it. That you guys have seen it. You guys know. I don't know, I don't really feel the need to describe it, because this is the 6th or 5th season of this show, so I don't really feel the driving need to describe it at all. Anywho, but that's basically the character list. So moving on to my favorite / most hated characters. This is not a good candidate for, this show is not a good candidate for this, because I like everybody. I don't hate anyone. And so it's not a good candidate because I like them all. Obviously my favorites are Kirito and Asuna. I mean, that's no surprise. But I like everybody. I like all the main characters, all the side characters. I don't have a problem with anybody. I just obviously super love Kirito and Asuna, and I love their relationship, and I love all the different events that happen, and I've loved them since season 1. That's what got me hooked on the show, was Kirito and Asuna as characters, and then the events, and the premise of the show as a secondary. You know what I mean? So I don't know, and so that's what got me hooked, was the relationship and how good the characters were back in the day. And so it's no different. So this is not a great candidate for this section, but it is what it is. So, moving on to animation and music. Now, I did mention this before, but the animation and the music, it goes right in line with Alicization, which is, I feel like Alicization was a major jump in the quality, and it's always been a very, very pretty show. It's always been had different, where music would hit at certain times and really sold stuff. It's always done that, but in Alicization, something really changed. The first thing I noticed is sound. Animation 2 was a major step up, and it was very, very pretty, but it's always been pretty. But the sound was a massive increase, because suddenly combat felt had oomph. When abilities were used or impacts were felt, you felt it. The sound, it sells it, and it does an amazing job of doing that. And the animation and the music for this season is no different. In the War of Underworld, you notice it a lot because it's constant fighting. It is battle the entire time. And so you really, really notice when there's, when swords are clashing and magic's being used and big powerful abilities are being used. It all, you feel the impact of all of those things. You really feel the impact of all of those things in War of Underworld, because it's constant fighting, and in season 2 as well. But they are both massive increases. And it's just really good. But basically, in summary, it's a hype show. It is a very hype show. There's just I can't think of another word to describe it. Lots of characters have great moments where, speaking of the animation and sound thing, where Shino, for instance, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens or whatever, but suffice it to say, when she shows up, she does show up eventually in one of the 2 seasons. I guess you'll have to watch it to find out. but eventually she shows up, and just like Suguha, like when different characters show up, they have good moments. They have moments where you like gasp and you're like oh my god, it's Suguha or whatever. Oh my god, it's Shino, whatever. Like there's lots of hype moments. Like in the battles, the abilities being used, the scale, like the conflicts. Like it's a very hype show with lots of hype moments, and I can't think of another way to describe it. Because when I'm watching and I'm like freaking out, like like a very excited teenager when I'm watching the show and something very exciting's happening. I'm like, oh my god, it's whatever, it's Kirito. Oh my god, it's Asuna or whatever. Like it's a very exciting show with lots of exciting things happening, and I feel like hype is just the way to describe is the best way to describe it. Oh my god, if I could just not be stuffed up for half a second. I can't freaking breathe, dude. It's hard to do commentary while you can't breathe. Anyway, but moving on to final rating and recommendation, I'm going to give both of these seasons the same rating of 6 out of 5, one of my favorites. This anime is one of my favorites, and I love it. So, both of these seasons get the same rating. Both of them are 6 out of 5. The only show that didn't get a 6 out of 5, I think, was Season 2 of Sword Art Online, because the second half, like the first half of the show was easy 6 out of 5 material, but second half I think was very underwhelming for me. It didn't feel important, and so I think I dropped the rating for it. But regardless, no surprise there. I'm a big SAO fan, and so it's no surprise that both of these seasons both get 6 out of 5s. They're both very, very good. I love Sword Art Online. And in Season 2, and again, this doesn't feel like a spoiler, but they did set up for another season of some kind. I won't say more than that, and we won't talk about it too much more than that, but they are obviously preparing for the next go-round on Sword Art Online stuff. And so, if you're a big fan like me, that is incredibly good news, because I love Sword Art Online. So anytime they want to make another season or a movie, I will be there. And so they are working on new stuff for it, and I am very, very excited about it. So, and that's it. We did it. A positive anime review for the first one in like 9 months. So, at the time of recording, this is Thursday, which is my middle of the week day off. I do now have Sundays and Mondays off, so that's my weekend. I don't think I'll be editing this video today, and so by the time you're seeing this, it might actually be a weekend. So I don't know when I'm gonna get this edited, but I don't think it's gonna be today. So I wanted to at least I got this recorded, so at least we have that going for us. So I'm not going to talk about whatever other uploads I'm going to do for the day and stuff, because like I said, I'm probably not going to edit this today, and I am planning on recording Mad Max today, at least at the time of recording this. So we're not going to get too much into it because it feels pointless. But regardless, I'm very, very happy to have finally recorded a positive anime review. Freaking finally, dude! I'm very sorry that took so long to get out, and I'm real sorry about what a giant hiatus that took. I don't know, man. It was just like I said. There was lots of transitions and things going on and changes in my life, and I was moving and switching jobs, and it was just all going on. And I fell off the bandwagon for anime, and it's been a rough year. It's been kind of a rough year. Regardless, very happy to be back, and I don't know what I'm gonna watch next, but I am planning on getting back on the bandwagon for watching anime again. So you can hopefully be expecting positive anime reviews to be coming out more and more. I will try, of course, to get uploads out as fast as I can around my insano, moving schedule. But, sorry, I just feel like I heard weird noises behind me. Anyway, which is weird because I should be home alone. Anyway. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna watch next, but I'm hoping I can get things out. But I'm done moving, but a lot of my stuff's not packed yet and it's not set up yet. So recently, even on days off, I've been missing uploads because adjusting to my very physically intensive, very difficult job is very exhausting, and it's killing me. And so so uploads are even more hit or miss than I'm hoping they will be after I get fully settled into my new place. And so I'm hoping it'll, smooth out a little bit. Anyway, but yeah, that's basically it. I can't wait to see you guys on the next positive anime review and in my next uploads. I will hopefully be picking out my anime tonight, hopefully. So we'll see if that happens. Anyway, that is going to call it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.